Hi, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. We're continuing with our discussion of long reining. So we've gone through steps 1 and 2. Step number 1 was just lunging the horse, getting the horse to take consistent contact and stretch into the contact with the reins, with the side reins, before you even begin to think about. Because once again, remember in the beginning when we're making horses' mouths, we want them to be quiet in the mouth before we start taking any pressure against their mouth. That's why we never shorten the side reins, overly shorten the side reins. Correctly fitted side reins are adjusted so that the horse can still get its head up, but not get its head up all the way like that. That will encourage the horse to stretch into the contact, rather than so many people that we see who have over-tightened the side reins, or people who over-tighten the inside side rein thinking that they're bending the horse. The side rein should always be the same length, and they should never try to set the horse's head. That's never what we're trying to do. We're not teaching saddlebreds and Tennessee walkers, we're doing dressage horses. So we're not looking for a set frame, we're looking for a fluid frame that can move from one frame to another, as opposed to the idea of like a saddlebred where the head and neck is set and that's what they expect it to stay there all the time. So step number 2, now that we've gone in both directions and gotten the horse quiet about having the line just over the top of the back like that, the next step, and the step that can be quite scary for the horse, is the point of putting the line around the back of the hindquarters. So I'm going to let the camera move back a little bit before I even start this. So she's going to step back away from me a little bit, and then I'm going to bring the hindquarters, the rope around the back of the hindquarters, which some horses can become very, very freaky about this. So you must be very careful. Be sure that you have the line in this hand so that you're ready to give it if necessary. Notice also that I'm working in a pen here that's completely enclosed. Please do not try this out in some open field someplace where the horse can get away with you, because there is nothing more dangerous than should the horse get away from you and you've got all these lines now connected to it. That is a good way to get a horse killed. So once we have the horse quiet that way, now we're just going to let this line go around its hindquarters like that and drop down. And we're going to keep it right there, just above the hock like that, as we now ask the horse to move on, and she's going to have to accept the contact with that behind her butt. I'm going to send her right. You see how she's starting to react to it right away. Now notice how relaxed I'm keeping this outside rein. Some horses will completely freak out of it about this, so you must be prepared for that to happen. So she panners a little bit. I'm not going to, as long as she's not going crazy, I'm not going to immediately just rip her down into a trot. I'm going to let her just get used to a minute doing what she wants to do, not being in a big hurry. She's not freaking out or anything. And now I'm going to start asking her to come back. And just like that. Once again, not putting any pressure on that outside rein, because you see the horse is already much more active than she was without it. That's why this can be a useful technique with horses that tend to be a little slow or disengaged. But it's a technique that will only work a few times. As soon as the horse gets used to the line going around the back of its hindquarters, it won't do anything at all. Once again, which is why so many of these devices that are an attempt to start to do this don't really work. Pretty soon the horse gets used to the line going around its hindquarters and it just ignores it. Now that I have that, and drop. So once again, I'm not making any big demands. I'm letting her just get used to that. So she's pannering a little bit. That's perfectly all right. Whatever she needs to do to feel relaxed about it. And then I will gradually ask her to trot. And trot. She gets used to the idea of the line around the back of her hindquarters. And trot. Good girl. And send her on forward. Once again. Like that. And you see, now I can begin to just feel the rein a little bit and work with her mouth, but only a little bit at a time. Just letting her just set down. She's still starting to run. She's still running from the rope around her hindquarters a little bit. So I have to just let her relax and get used to that. Very nice. Like that. Be very careful not to take too much with your hands. The biggest danger here is that you will pull the horse's head down with these reins. Because they kind of act like draw reins. You know, you can very easily overbend the horse doing this. So your hands have to be so light. You have to be so careful. And as I said, you have to be physically fit enough to be sure you can stay on your feet out here doing this. Very important that you have correct posture, just like you have posture when you're lunging and when you're riding a horse. Your body language makes a big difference in how the horse responds. There, but now she's starting to slow down. The line around her back isn't causing her too much grief any longer. She's getting used to the idea. Very nice. And she's starting to stretch into the contact and allowing me to take contact with the outside rein. Notice how careful and how lightly I'm using these reins to keep from overbending this horse. Beautiful. now you may have, if you're working some thoroughbred or horse, a very hot-blooded horse, it may take you days just to get them used to this point. You have to just, each horse is an individual, but you have to wait at each section of this, each segment, that you don't do anything before you've done the step that comes before it. Otherwise, you may get yourself in big trouble. Imagine how easy it would be if the horse took off to get wrapped up in these reins, or to simply let go of them and suddenly have a horse running around the ring with these big long reins wrapping around his legs. Not a pretty sight. Like that. Now she's starting to relax into the contact. Like that. Beautiful. And walk. Time to let her come into a walk. Very nice. All right. So that was step number 3. Oh, there. Once again, see how the horse, you must be very careful when those lines are around the back of the horse, because you must keep the line up. As you see how I'm doing, I'm keeping that line up in her hock there a little bit above the hock, because if I let it get down and let this outside line get down around her hind leg, I can be in trouble quicker than you can say Jack's Sprat. There. Or Jack Splat. Very nice. So she got a little reactive there, so I just put her back into her, let her get used to it again. Very nice, like that. And now I'm going to bring her back to the walk. And walk. Good girl. Oh, right there. Now notice how I'm approaching the horse, how I'm keeping that outside line up in that hock. As I come towards her, I've got to keep these lines up so they're not getting into the horse. So she's not getting down. If they were to get down like that, she'd easily step a foot through it. Now you've got a horse, and then they start spinning around in circles. You can see how easily it would be to get in trouble doing this. Once again, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. That's phase number 3. In just a few moments, we'll take you on to phase number 4. Thank you very much.